This November, no matter the outcome, we will elect our 47th chief executive. But first, we're going to take a look back at how the president became president. This is your countdown to 47. Next is Uncle Jumbo, Grover Cleveland. Prior to becoming the 22nd president, Cleveland studied law in Buffalo, New York, before being admitted to the bar. When Cleveland was drafted to serve in the Union Army during the Civil War, he hired a substitute to serve on his behalf, which was something permissible back then. He began his career in politics with a failed bid for district attorney. Following his defeat, Cleveland returned to practicing law, and in 1871, he became a sheriff for 2 years. In 1881, his political career began to launch when he was elected mayor of Buffalo. The following year, he made a successful bid for the governorship of New York. As governor, Cleveland pushed for civil service bills challenging the patronage system and gained a reputation as a reformer. By 1884, Cleveland was a national figure and a natural choice for the Democratic nomination for president. The campaign of 1884 was bitter. Cleveland faced off with Republican opponent James G. Blaine. Days after receiving the nomination, Cleveland was accused of having fathered a son out of wedlock. He is said to have never confirmed or denied these claims, although Cleveland did financially support the boy while he lived in an orphanage before the child's eventual adoption. Despite this, the outcome was cinched just days before the election when Republican candidate James Blaine attended a dinner in New York City where a reverend claimed that Democrats were the party of, quote, rum, Romanism, and rebellion. This offended New York Catholics, who responded by throwing their support behind Cleveland, which swayed the election. Grover Cleveland went on to become the 22nd president of the United States and the first Democrat to be elected to the high office since Buchanan in 1856, a good 28 years earlier. As president, Cleveland continued upgrading the Navy to steel battleships, which began under the Arthur administration. He also signed the Interstate Commerce Act of 1887, which put the railroad industry under federal jurisdiction, a first of its kind. He is also known for issuing the most vetoes of any president up to that point, with a whopping total of 414 in just the one term. In 1887, President Cleveland pushed for lowering tariffs. This became his signature issue, and it ultimately cost him re-election in 1888, losing to Republican Benjamin Harrison. Grover Cleveland served as President of the United States from 1885 to 1889. But a few years later, the two faced off again in the election of 1892 for the rematch of the century. I'm Eric George for Valley News Live, and this has been your countdown to 47.